the Executive Director of the American Association of Veterinary State Boards and Chair of ASAE's CAE Commission, James T. Penrod, CAE, FASLA.
Thanks so much, John. The Certified Association Executive Designation recognizes completion of a rigorous process and a demonstrated depth of knowledge and understanding across every major facet of association management. Fewer than 5% of all association professionals earn this distinction. Accordingly, the profession recognizes CAEs as accomplished leaders with the experience, expertise, skills, and knowledge to effectively lead, manage, and promote excellence and achievement in their organizations. The next CAE examination will take place on Friday, December 2nd, so please sign up. The application deadline is Friday, September 23rd. This morning, though, we'll celebrate those who have fulfilled the professional experience and educational requirements and gone on to pass an exhaustive and challenging examination, meeting our industry's highest standards of professionalism. Not everyone who earned a CAE could be with us here today, but all the recipients' names will appear on the screen throughout the program. As we honor our 2016 CAEs, please hold your applause until the end. ASAE members, partners, families, and friends, I'm privileged to introduce our 2016 class of Certified Association Executives.
Tara Adams, CAE.
Carolyn J. Abbey, CAE.
Adrian Amos Hondrick, CAE.
Angela Babb, CAE.
John H. Baker, CAE.
Del Baker Robertson, CAE.
Nicole Banks, CAE.
Holly Batts, CAE.
Katrina M. Babahani, CAE.
Linda Bernatich, CAE.
Julie Boland, CAE.
Genevieve Borello, CAE.
Melanie Bowser, CAE.
Julia Boyd, CAE.
Mona Buckley, CAE.
Jennifer Mitchell Kennedy, CAE.
Salvador Chires, CAE.
Robin Yvette Clayton, CAE.
Jonathan Danforth, CAE.
Christy Davis, CAE.
Marybeth Daniki, CAE.
Emily DeVillers, CAE.
Kevin Bisrilli, CAE.
Bill Elliott, CAE.
Elizabeth Benzetti, CAE.
Michelle Ferketic, CAE.
Scott Daniel Farron, CAE.
Olivia Gadsden, CAE.
Mark Jerome, CAE.
Abner Gonsalves, CAE.
Brett Hansen, CAE.
Erica Harney, CAE.
Renee Harris Etheridge, CAE.
Nicolette L. Hatton, CAE.
Carolina Hernandez, CAE.
Greg Hill, CAE.
Megan Hilly, CAE.
James R. Hurt, CAE.
Marie Holine, CAE.
Dean Holtzbeck, CAE.
Meredith Houston, CAE.
Patrick Jesse, CAE.
Eileen Morgan Johnson, CAE.
Mark L. Jones, CAE.
Patricia A. Jones, CAE.
Kim Kelly, CAE.
Jason Kopensky, CAE.
Cami Kavalik, CAE.
Megan Kuhlman, CAE.
Mina M. Larson, CAE.
Elaine Layton, CAE.
Mike Levin, CAE.
Barbara Long, CAE.
Emily Lubbers, CAE.
Scott Lynch, CAE.
Kimberly McNeil, CAE.
Kelly Neal Mariotti, CAE.
Ann McDermott, CAE.
Kimberly Miles, CAE.
Maisha Miles, CAE.
Kevin Mulitakowski, CAE.
Tangela Monroe, CAE.
Michelle Morrison, CAE.
Sarah Murphy, CAE.
Jenny Nesper, CAE.
Christine Noble, CAE.
Kate O'Donnell, CAE.
Erin O'Sullivan, CAE.
Scott Parker, CAE.
Jason R. Pierce, CAE.
Lauren Precker, CAE.
Kathleen M. Rakestraw, CAE.
Sarah Razor, CAE.
Kimberly Ann Reed, CAE.
Pamela Rosenberg, CAE.
Jamie Sadler, CAE.
Heidi Sockel, CAE.
Ruth Christine Sapsara, CAE.
Greg Saul, CAE.
Dawn Marie Shiley, CAE.
Suzanne Sleto, CAE.
Lillian E. Smothers, CAE.
Scott Spurgeon, CAE.
Patricia A. Stefanchik, CAE.
John Stoltz, CAE.
Elizabeth Sermont, CAE.
Melissa Swartz, CAE.
Kelly A. Thompson, CAE.
Shawnzia Thompson, CAE.
John Torres, CAE.
Christy Uden, CAE.
Jonathan Jason Uito, CAE.
Polly Undusser, CAE.
Carl Weaver, CAE.
Paul Frederick Weintraub, CAE.
Johnny White, CAE.
Elise Jacobellis, CAE.
Kimberly A. Yoho, CAE.
Katie Zimmerman, CAE.
Ladies and gentlemen, these individuals have achieved the highest professional credential in the association industry. CAEs, congratulations on your accomplishments, and thank you for your dedication to our profession. And now, please welcome back Abe Ashkenazi.
Thank you, James, for the terrific work in chairing the Certified Association Executive Commission. And of course, our thanks to all the commission members who worked so hard to elevate the profession. Let's give all the awardees another round of applause. As important as we appreciate you making this early event to support your peers and colleagues and recognize their achievements. We look forward to seeing you at tomorrow's closing general session and at today's luncheon. All the best.